beautiful things I like so much about this blessing of innocence is it helps me to reframe my thinking about myself and the world. Especially in times where I might not have known how to do or how to resolve myself around a particular moment where I felt guilty, where I felt blame was going on. When I consider my innocent nature, I realize I'm not defined by my mistakes. I'm not defined by how other people perceive me. I'm defined by some deeper truth within myself. And my innocent nature reminds me of that truth. It's like checking in with the blueprint, getting back, oh, these are the schematics. This is who I am. This is my original code. When we check in with that, it usually gives me all I need to know to think about myself and my situations with more clarity. And I can get, in a way, it's like getting honest with myself, reminding myself of who I am, where I'm going, how I want to be. In my life, I've had many moments of confusion where I had so many different thoughts and visions competing for my attention. I didn't have one single focus, one clear direction I felt I was connected or wanted to go in. It was hard to satisfy and assimilate all the different voices going on in my head. I experienced that as a piece of overwhelm. And at times it's been really hard to know which way to go, which voice to listen to, which path to take. And in my more successful moments, I was able to listen to this voice within me, this calm voice that wasn't overwhelmed. It was in the middle of it all, yet it was the calm in the center of the storm. And when I find that voice within myself, again, the path forward usually becomes much more simple. It's as simple as just taking an action, making a choice, and living it out. Trusting the path I've set for myself, trusting the voice that set me on that path, and seeing where it takes me. Remembering to live curious. That's been very helpful to me throughout my life. There's so much that can be said about the topic of worthiness. And so I would just pose a question to each of you to answer in your own time. What does worthiness within yourself look and feel like? An easier question to answer or an easier thought to follow might be, what do you value within yourself? What do you value about yourself? What do you like about who you are? What do you like about how you show up in the world? Do we often sit with that line of thinking? We're probably very used to and very comfortable sitting with the other line of questioning. What am I not doing right? What am I not doing good enough? What can I do better? And those are good and those are valuable, and that's a helpful line of reasoning. But if we only use that line of reasoning, we're missing out on a really beautiful way of appreciating and getting to know ourselves and acknowledge ourselves more fully. So sit with some of the questions, if you haven't already. What do you like about yourself? What about you is indispensable? What about you makes the world a better place? And those kinds of thoughts. And enjoy the outcomes. Enjoy what you find. Celebrate yourself. None of us have to go it alone. We are part of a community, an ever-growing, ever-living community. And so when we find ourselves feeling isolated, alone, or abandoned, those are wonderful opportunities to change the story, to change the experience, to change the expectation, and challenge ourselves to reach out and connect. In my life, shame has often kept me from feeling worthy of connection. And so through my isolation, I cut myself off from support. And I went it alone for a long time. And occasionally I still find myself doing that. But I've learned that how to recognize that and how to shift and reach out and connect and ask for help. To acknowledge that there is support in my life. And usually the only price of admission for that support is to reach out and ask for it. I might not get what I want. I might get a redirect, and that's okay too. We acknowledge that we have free will. We have a choice. We have options. We may not like our options. We may not believe very strongly in our options and in our abilities. However, that's secondary. We have free will. When we acknowledge our free will, we can begin to take ownership of the state of our lives. We realize that just because I haven't doesn't mean I can't. You are the author of your life. And what you contribute to the world matters. What you hold back from the world also matters. The invitation is to live curious. You are free to live yourself and to discover what that is, who you are. When we are in love with our lives, when we are in love with ourselves, when we are in love with our Creator, it's one love. It flows in all directions. It's a love that leads to compassion, a compassion that leads to understanding. And with that understanding, we just have greater knowledge. We can participate and co-create with more mindfulness. Through forgiveness, we claim the power to transform ourselves. We release ourselves from the identity of the wounded one, the victim, and we reclaim our glory, independent and whole as a child of God, with the authority to say, here are my boundaries. We can mend our fences. We can restore relationships. We can offer the opportunity for others to transform themselves. And it is an invitation that whether they choose to do that or not, it does not continue to hold or bind us. We release ourselves. Forgiveness is amazing. Forgiveness doesn't condone. Forgiveness isn't passive. It transcends. It helps us to transcend our own pain and heal. We're dynamic beings, living in a very dynamic world, living in fluid situations. Yet oftentimes our mindset can be very rigid, and that can create quite a bit of tension and dissonance. And so part of the ease that we receive is we ease our mindset, we ease our death grip on the vision of our outcomes, our lives as they are, as they're intended to be, as they have to be, right? There's a level of control we're hanging on to. And while it's good to control what we can, it's very wasteful of our energy to try to control what we cannot. And so instead of having a rigid death grip on our lives, we could relax. We could relax into a mindful presence with the moment that we're having right now. We have our memories of the past and we have our aspirations for the future. And those are good. Because as we are experiencing time drop by drop, we are also living within the infinite single big moment. So some of us have insights of what's coming ahead. We can scan down the road some and anticipate what's coming pretty well. Other times, we're going completely blind. No matter what, we can relax. We can relax our minds, we can relax our hearts, we can ease into the moment and realize that right now is more than enough leverage and traction to steer and shape the course of our lives. We can trust the vision and the purpose that we have. We can trust our expression and our will and the love that we have within us. And that as we have forgiven and set ourselves free, we are more present. And because we're more present, we're more powerful. Or perhaps more efficient. And that might look like being more powerful. So we can relax. Relax into the moment. Relax into your life. Relax into the flow. Another word for relax might be allow. Give your vision permission to grow. Give yourself permission to follow your purpose and see where it takes you. Let the stories and anticipations go somewhat. It's good to have a vision. Doesn't mean go blind. Doesn't mean throw away your plan or your goals. It just means relax into it. Trust the flow and be present. There have been many times on my journey where I have not felt safe, and I have felt tremendously insecure for much of it. Yet there were many moments as well where I felt so confident and sure that there was never a second guess. It didn't mean I didn't have fear, but there was a sureness within me that I also had. And so we're given the gift of that awareness that we are safe. Fear is a great voice. It's part of our radar system. It lets us know of the real dangers ahead of us. It's also a really wonderful opportunity to see the pains of the past that we're projecting into the future. If we're projecting it, it's because we haven't faced it and resolved it. So if we find ourselves facing fear, or when we find ourselves facing fear, we have an opportunity to look within ourselves and resolve ourselves around that fear. It might be a childhood situation or another situation at a different time in our lives that we're holding a charge around. The emotion of fear can take us right to that point, like a tethering line. We can travel to it. In fact, that's true for all of our emotions. All of our emotions are like tethers, and they go to different events in our lives, and they are reinforced in different ways at different times in our lives. And as we re-experience certain kinds of events, certain emotions are associated with that, they can be reinforced. And so if there's a strong emotion coming up in your life, it might be reminding you of an embarrassing moment, or a moment you're ashamed of, or a moment of your anger, or of your fear, or even a moment of your great joy. You can travel those emotions back to those memories. Those memories aren't just chemical trails inside the brain. Those memories are also energetic imprints. They're moments in our lives. And because we also live in the infinite single moment, we live those moments right now as well. So we're constantly living certain moments. And our energetic attachment to those moments can affect us. Like a filter. It can affect how we perceive the present moment. And if we haven't adjusted our relationship to our past, it might be affecting how we see our present moment and creating our future. And so strong emotions, moments of trigger, are opportunities for us to look at ourselves and resolve that charge so that we're releasing ourselves to live more fully present in the moment. Doesn't mean we forget the past. It just means the past isn't secretly manipulating or influencing our present moment and how our future is being created. And it's also really important to note, emotions never, ever, ever need to be resolved. Situations need to be resolved. We can resolve ourselves around the situations and the memories that we've had. We can reframe our mindset, change our ideas, unwrite the stories, rewrite the stories. But it is never your emotions that need to be resolved. There's nothing wrong with your emotions. So as we travel through our lives, the past, the present, into the future, we're fluid. The past will continue to speak to us as we move through our lives into the future and discover what's there for us. Our future is not written. There's a whole quantum possibility. There's a whole field of possibilities. And every moment that we have defines the set of likelihoods for the next possibilities that we're going to encounter. Every choice we make, every thought we have, every observation we make alters the field of possibility that we're moving through. What a wonderful thing that is. That's really cool. So we can conceptualize so many things, and within the natural world that God's made for us, we're given this amazing ability to dream, right? We can live in complete fantasy. We can imagine such wonderful things that are not possible within the natural physical world. Yet we exist in this place of dream as well. How tantalizing and strange. There's something within our dreams, within that place of impossibility, where all things are possible. We're given a power. We're giving a stage. We're giving a setting, a medium through which we can escape the unreal limitations we've placed on ourselves. It doesn't mean we have the power to alter reality. It means we have the power to re-envision ourselves. And then as we step into reality, we can bring a redefined self, deeper knowledge about our purpose, deeper knowledge about our nature and our characters. We are a very broad blank canvas. God has given us the fiber, the grit, the texture, a purpose. He's given us the essentials to work with and a world to work with that in. And He's given us a separate infinite space in which to play with our infinite ability to envision. Not to tantalize us and frustrate us, but to allow us to grow. Because it takes an infinite power to break through our own limitations. Because we are so powerful. And we can limit ourselves so powerfully, we were given this other power, this infinite dreaming power. Because that's the power we know that we need to break the chains of our limiting beliefs. Quite a neat thing to think about.